I got laid off and discovered my credit card was overdrawn by $8,400. In a panic, I dialed my mom. Her voice came through faintly. "Apologies, sweetheart, the signal's weak, we're on the island." I confronted her about the missing funds. Her reply was icy. "It's your card, your responsibility." That's when it clicked. The real issue was clear. Within minutes, I locked their access to my accounts and updated every linked card. Then I sent one screenshot to the family chat. Their getaway unraveled instantly. It was a Thursday morning when I lost my job. One moment I was sorting emails, the next I was cut off from every company system. No heads up, just a brief Zoom with HR, a vague budget cuts excuse, and a severance email that wouldn't even deliver when I tried to respond. I sat there, still in my sweatpants, staring at my laptop, wondering what's next. Out of instinct, I checked my banking app, hoping to feel some control, some stability. That's when I saw it. -$84,27.19. Glaring red, my credit card balance. Not just maxed out, overdrawn. I blinked, refreshed, checked again. The number didn't budge. I scrolled through the charges, my fingers trembling with every flick. Plane tickets. A high-end Airbnb, fancy dinners, spa treatments. Scooter rentals on an island. I stopped cold. It was them. My parents had been posting photos all week. Cocktails at dusk, pristine beaches, some upscale hammock setup with a volcano view. The Canary Islands. And they'd been using my credit card to fund it. Without asking, without a word. Just draining my account while I scrambled to cover next month's rent. My hands shook as I called my mom. She answered on the third ring. Wind in the background, waves, crashing laughter. "Sorry, honey, bad connection, we're on the island." Her tone implied I should be envious. I didn't respond right away. I let the silence linger. Then slowly I asked, "Did you use my card?" A pause. Then her voice shifted, sharp, detached. "It's your card, not my issue." That's when it hit me. This wasn't a mistake or a misunderstanding. They knew exactly what they were doing. They knew I'd been laid off. I'd told them the day it happened. Yet they were flying first class on my dime, dining on seafood I couldn't afford in my own town. I sat in that silence for a moment, the truth burning like bile in my throat. Then I ended the call, no shouting, no pleading. I opened my banking app again, froze all linked cards, removed every authorized user, changed every password. Then I took a screenshot of the latest charge, a sunset yacht rental in Playa Blanca, and dropped it in the family group chat. No words, just the image. Red receipts popped up one by one, mom first, then dad, then my sister, who probably knew too. No one responded. But within minutes, the island vacation posts stopped. Here's the context. This wasn't new. That credit card, they'd had access for months, quietly, casually, like I was just an extra bank account they could tap. It started last Christmas. Mom called sobbing, saying the heater was broken and they couldn't afford repairs. "We're struggling," she said. "Just a small loan, we'll pay you back by January." I sent $2,000 the next day. In February, it was Dad's dental bill. Then my sister needed $600 for her car so she could make it to her yoga retreat. "Put it on your card, please. I'll send it back next week." No one ever paid me back. Every time I asked, I got the same line. "Stop tracking it. Family supports family. You'll get it when you're a parent." Or, "You earn well, what's a few bucks?" I did earn decently then, working in tech, remote, stable, a solid paycheck. Not wealthy, but enough to cover my bills and have a little left. That was my mistake, letting them see it, letting them expect it. I became the dependable one, the one who always stepped up, the one who paid without complaining. Even when I should have. When my sister lost her barista job and moved back home, I covered her phone bill for 6 months to keep her number active. When Dad's car broke down, I paid half the repair. When Mom maxed her card on a wellness conference ticket, she asked me to transfer the balance just for one cycle. It was always temporary, they said. Always, but it wasn't. No repayments, no plans, no apologies. Just more excuses. Then their tone shifted to entitlement. "Can you shift your payment to the 15th? We need to book the resort early. Pick up dinner tonight, sweetie. We forgot our cards again." You can write it off, right? You're in tech. Why are you making this weird? It's just money. They weren't borrowing, they were taking, like I owed them for existing. I wish I could say I pushed back right away, cut them off the first time it felt wrong. But I didn't. Guilt is a powerful chain, especially when it's forged by family. Whenever I tried to pull away, they doubled down. When I mentioned saving money, Mom cried, big theatrical tears. She said I'd grown distant, that my tech job had made me selfish. When I tried to cut off my sister's Amazon access, she called me controlling. Controlling because she couldn't use my Prime to order almond milk and nail polish. But the real breaking point wasn't the money. It was my birthday. They forgot it entirely. Not a late, we'll celebrate next week, forget. Total silence. No text, no call, no silly meme. That same day, I got a notification. Spa treatment and couples massage, $298 on my card. They were getting pampered in Fuerteventura while I ate leftover noodles alone in my apartment. I sat there, phone in hand, and let out a hollow laugh. The kind you make when you're so furious, so shocked, so finished, words don't come, just sound. That's when it sank in I wasn't their son or brother, I was their ATM. And when I lost my job, when AI replaced my entire department and HR vanished, they didn't check in. No, how are you holding up? No, you'll bounce back. Just more charges and resort selfies. I was drowning in bills, rent, stress, waking up at 3 a.m. with chest pains, checking my balance, praying no new charges appeared. And they were sipping cocktails under palm trees on my credit. When I confronted Mom about the charges, the balance, the betrayal, she didn't flinch. It's your card, not my issue. Pure, cold indifference, like I was a stranger asking for my tools back. I think I muttered, wow, and hung up. That was the moment I stopped seeing them as family. The moment I knew they wouldn't stop unless I made them. And what I did next. Their vacation ended in less than a minute. After hanging up, I didn't yell or break anything. I opened my laptop, logged into every account with calm precision, and started severing ties. First, the credit card portal. I blocked all linked users, disabled all authorized purchases, set manual approval for future charges. Then my bank unlinked all external accounts, deactivated the shared family wallet, froze the emergency savings they could access. Changed every password. Next, Apple Family sharing. They loved using my iCloud storage, my Apple Music, my movies. Not anymore. I removed every device tied to my ID, even Dad's ancient iPad with a cracked screen. Then I cut their access to the shared calendar, where I'd added polite reminders about loan repayments they ignored. Oh, and I kicked them off my Netflix, full scorched earth. Then the final touch. I screenshotted the latest charge, Sunset Yacht Charter, Playa Blanca, $162, bold and red. Below it, I typed one line. You're done, enjoy your last drink. Then I sent it to the family chat. No emojis, no theatrics, just that. It took 23 seconds for the read receipts to appear. Then the chaos began. Dad, what's this? We're on vacation. You can't just cancel everything. Mom, this is petty and immature, you've stranded us. My sister, you're overreacting, we needed this trip, you knew that. I didn't reply, I just watched them unravel. At minute 3, a notification. Card declined, spa retreat balance, $189. Then another, Airbnb payment failed, booking canceled. Then the real panic hit. Mom, the hotel says our room access is cut off, they're demanding another card. Dad, are you serious? You're sabotaging your family over a few charges. A few charges. I typed one reply. Total since January, $8423.72. That's not a few charges. That's my rent, my groceries, my life. Silence. Then Dad. You could have just talked to us instead of embarrassing everyone. That made me laugh. Talk. Like the dozen times I asked for repayments and got ignored. Like when I suggested setting limits and Mom called me greedy. Like when I said I couldn't afford dinner and they mocked me for being money-obsessed. Number talking was done. This was action. I muted the chat and closed my laptop. My hands were still trembling, my pulse racing. The adrenaline was like a storm surging through me, because this wasn't just a technical move, it was defiance. The first real no I'd ever said, and it landed like a bomb in their beachside fantasy. That night I checked my voicemail. 3 missed calls from Dad, 1 from Mom, a furious rant from my sister starting with "You've ruined everything" and ending with "We were relying on you." Yeah, that was the problem. They weren't on a family trip. They were milking me like a bank with a pulse. I checked one last notification. New login attempt denied. Location, Spain. Nice try, Dad. I went to bed with a grin. For once, they were the ones chasing debt. They flew back 2 days later. Economy seats, budget airline, no luggage, no texts or calls during their flight. But I got one notification that made me smile. Refund issued, Airbnb cancellation, $1,287. Too late to rebook, too early to extend their stay. Perfectly timed to leave them stranded. When they landed, the silence was loud. No messages, no guilt trips, no "we're disappointed" speeches. That's how I knew I'd struck a nerve. The control they'd held over me through guilt, duty, obligation was gone. I'd cut the strings. And me? I started breathing easier. I opted out of their emotional demands like I was quitting a toxic job. The next morning, I made myself pancakes and actually enjoyed them. I didn't check my banking app in panic. I didn't jump when my phone pinged. I just lived. I started freelancing, small gigs at first, nothing fancy but consistent. Then I landed a role at a fintech startup that liked how I'd managed personal financial disruptions. They saw the employment gap and asked. Within a month, I was covering rent again. No luxuries, no takeout, but also no parasitic vacations draining my funds. I got a library card, hit the gym, slept through the night. That was my luxury, calm. Of course, they didn't stay silent forever. 3 weeks later, my sister broke first. A random Wednesday, 3:47 p.m., a voice note. Hey, we need to talk. Everyone's still upset about what happened, but you went too far. You know that, right? I didn't respond, so she doubled down. Dad's thinking of selling the car. Mom's dropping her yoga class. We're all cutting back. Maybe it's time you act like an adult, too. I nearly laughed my phone out of my hand. Sell the car, cancel yoga. I'd been eating canned beans for weeks and scraping change for the bus. They weren't sacrificing, they were tasting consequences. The next day, Mom called. I let it go to voicemail. 2 messages. The first, we didn't raise you to be cruel. The second, your dad might need surgery soon, thought you should know. Surgery, that was their ace card, health guilt, the ultimate family manipulation. They were losing control, so they went all in. But this time, I didn't bite. I'd spent years jumping at their financial alarms. This time, I kept walking, and here's where it gets crazier. 2 months after the island fallout, they tried to apply for a joint credit card using my social security number. I got the fraud alert at 10 a.m. while brewing coffee. My hand didn't even shake. I called the bank, shut it down, reported the attempt. That night, Dad texted, "You're being absurd. We only tried because we thought you'd eventually agree." Like identity theft was a casual favor, that was it. I wrote back, "Let me be clear, you will never use my name, credit, or accounts again. One more try and I'll press charges. This isn't emotional, it's legal." No reply, but I knew they read it. That's when something shifted. Week 10, after cutting them off, I got a text from an unknown number. It was my cousin Tara, someone I hadn't spoken to in years. She was always quiet at family gatherings, staying out of the drama. But now she had stories. I wasn't the first they'd drained, just the most reliable. They'd borrowed from 2 other relatives for investments that never panned out. They'd even taken out a loan against Grandma's life insurance years back. No one ever spoke up. Everyone let it slide. "Until you," Tara said. "You standing up shook everyone awake. You gave them consequences no one else dared to." That hit deep. For the first time, someone in my family called me courageous. Not the smart one, not the helpful one, not the quiet one, courageous. And here's the kicker, the Canary Island Resort. After my card was declined and the payment failed, they reported it to collections. I got a call from the manager, firm but professional. Apparently, Mom claimed the charges were a gift from me, that I'd approved it all verbally. But when the resort checked with the bank and saw the blocks, email history, and credit freezes, they flagged it. My parents were banned from that resort and 2 others. My name, cleared. Their dream getaway spot, off limits forever. Was it worth it, losing my family over a few $1,000s? It was never about the money, it was the pattern. They saw me as a resource, not a person. The moment I closed the account, they didn't miss me, they missed the perks. That told me everything. Now my fridge isn't full, but it's mine. My phone is quiet, but it's peaceful. My bank account? Modest but steady. For the first time, my balance isn't just financial, it's self-respect. It's been 5 months since I cut them off. 5 months since I became the bad guy in a family story I didn't create. And I've never felt more free. People talk about freedom like it's a plane ticket or a new city. But true freedom? It's realizing you don't owe anyone your silence just because they share your DNA. They called me a traitor, said I turned my back on the ones who raised me. But here's the truth. The ones who raise you don't use guilt as a weapon. They don't steal your future and call it love. They don't leave you broke while they lounge in luxury. The ones who love you don't drain you dry. So when they labeled me selfish, cold, ungrateful, fine, let them. Because I finally saw it, I wasn't part of their family. I was part of their budget. They didn't lose a son, they lost their credit line. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. Walking away hurts at first. It's brutal. You question everything, stare at your phone, half hoping for an apology, half bracing for the next guilt trip. You sit in a silence that used to be filled with demands and wonder if you made the right choice. But then something changes. You sleep better, think clearer, you remember what peace feels like. It's slow, quiet, but when it arrives, it's everything. And the irony, the more peace I found, the more their world crumbled without me. A few weeks ago, I got a letter. Not a text or email, a handwritten letter from my aunt, Dad's sister. We hadn't talked in years. It began. I heard what happened. You did what none of us had the courage to do. She shared stories of their borrowing, their manipulation, their broken promises across the family. No one ever stood up until me. Her last line stuck with me. They taught you to survive, you taught us to say enough. I read it over and over. For the first time, I cried for myself, not from pain or guilt, but from being seen. Now I live differently. Not dramatically, I haven't moved to a new country or changed my name. I've reclaimed my space. I stop working when my day ends. I take walks without checking my phone. I check price tags for me, not for what others might demand. My calendar used to be packed with their crises. Now it's empty, and that emptiness is mine. I go to coffee shops and sip slowly. I read books for no reason other than they're strange or beautiful. I'm learning to exist without proving my worth to anyone. That's the rebellion. What's next? Maybe I'll relocate, start fresh. Maybe I'll write. Maybe I'll study again. Maybe I'll invest in myself the way I once invested in them. I've started a document called Project Rebuild. It's simple, honest. Tabs for an emergency fund, growing, skills to learn, coding, design, marketing, people to keep close, 3 names, that's all. And a list of things I'll never do again. Lend without a contract, apologize for boundaries, mistake guilt for love. That last one's bolded. A few nights ago, I had a dream. I was in my childhood home, same couch, same smell. But I was taller, older, stronger. Mom was rifling through my bank statements. Dad was waving a bill asking why I hadn't paid it. My sister was lounging, saying, "You used to care." I didn't speak. I just picked up scissors and cut a single cord on the wall. The room went dark. They disappeared. I woke up smiling. So if you're wondering if it's worth it, if walking away will destroy you, here's my answer. Let it destroy you. Let it destroy the version of you that accepted everything. Let it destroy the version that thought silence was love. Let it destroy the version that confused being needed with being valued. And when it's over, build something better. Build yourself. Because they'll never admit it, but the moment you said no was the moment they lost their hold. And you became unstoppable.